Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and in today's video, I'm going over what I would like to see as the Black Ops 7 Zombies Super Easter egg. Now, do I expect this to occur? No, I don't, because this is an in-depth scenario, and it's something that I think would be really cool if we got, but very unlikely, unfortunately. Now, I tried to record this video multiple times, but one of the recordings, the gameplay audio was way louder than my voice recording. The other one was I was just sick and I had to make so many cuts and it wasn't an authentic video. It wasn't flowing properly. So I waited. What we're doing is we're recording the face cam and then I will throw some gameplay behind it for you to watch. But yeah, in today's video, I'm going over what I would like to see for the Black Ops 7 Zombies Super Easter egg. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded much. I've been very busy with my other main channel, as well as just taking a break and going on vacation, and then some things happened, so it's been a while. I have some videos of my first attempts on some other maps and some other videos that I recorded that just haven't been uploaded. So if you're interested in seeing those, make sure to let me know in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's jump into this. If you do enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel down below, as the support is greatly appreciated. And let's get started. So the first thing that I have is I'm looking over here because I have all of the ideas written down. We're going to go over the instant unlocks. So after we beat Rex and Furnace, assuming you've beaten all the other maps, these are going to be the things you instantly unlock. Now, there are going to be some caveats, and we'll go over those in a minute, but if you beat all the Easter eggs, I think you should unlock a unique operator for every single map. So for Ashes, it would be Vatherion. For Astra, it would be Caltheris. For Paradox Junction, it's a little bit of an interesting one. I think it could be maybe one of the twins, or maybe you get both twins as an operator, or you just get the Ava Jansen skin / the entity. Then for Totenreich, you would get Dravakar. For Kawakajo, you would get Nixara. And then for DLC 5, Rex and Furnace, probably the Warden, but I just want to say this. What if, now, you know what, we'll get to it in a minute. It's going to be spoiling some things, but probably the Warden for Rex and Furnace, most likely if we do get operators. The next thing I would like, and it's something that's been confirmed by a leaker and something that's been going around since people were talking about a Super Easter egg in Black Ops 6, and that was universal Pack-a-Punch camos to go on your weapons. So the Pack-a-Punch camos and the Curse Pack-a-Punch camos, just being able to equip them on your gun, whether you want to go play multiplayer, which I don't really play in-game, or just have them in zombies. There have been that rumor going around, and honestly that leak, and I don't hate it, but I don't think that can be the standalone reward. If that's the only reward you get, really disappointing in my opinion. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in Black Ops 3, when they started to release all of the Pack-a-Punch camos as just additional camos, the Reisendrach camo, the Zetsubo camos, the Garad camos, the Revelations Pack-a-Punch camos, those were all released as camos that you could equip, and they honestly started to feel less special, in my opinion, because there's that prestige that you have to spend this points, you have to upgrade your gun to get this camo. And when you can equip it for free, or you just have it off rip, I don't know, it feels less special. Obviously, you would have to earn it, and you would have to play a lot to get this camo. So there is still that prestige that would come with it. But I don't know, for me, just in past games when they've released it, I haven't been the biggest fan of that personally. But it's been leaked, and I think it's still a cool reward to get. I don't know, that's just my opinion. It becomes a little less prestigious. At least that's how I value it in my eyes. That might not be true for a lot of people, but that's just how I personally see it. The next thing that I think should be an instant unlock is a throwback to Infinite Warfare Zombies. And I'm a big Infinite Warfare fan. I love the Super Easter egg. I love the maps in that game. So a lot of inspiration was drawn from that. The unique operator skins, that comes from Infinite Warfare, because one of my favorite things was once you beat Zombies in Spaceland, Raven the Redwoods, Shaolin Shuffle, Attack of the Radioactive Thing, you got the celebrity cast member unlocked where you could input the secret code and you could play as that special character on that map. And then if you beat all the Easter eggs in Director's Cut and you beat Mephistopheles, you could play as Willard Weiler. I think that is such a unique feature, and so being able to get an additional operator that you would have to work for is so cool. But moving back to what I think the third thing that should be an instant unlock, once again going back to Infinite Warfare, would be that boss battle mode. Now, the biggest thing for a boss battle mode is people were talking about bringing it back in multiple games. It's how do you implement it without it being overpowered because it's fun to go in and fight the boss and face the boss. But at the same time, if you load up Infinite Warfare, you've never played any of the maps, you could jump into the boss battle mode, you could practice the boss fight, and then it kind of trivializes the boss fight if you're good enough in the end. So there's no risk to beating it the first time. You just got to beat the quest, and oh, we've practiced for the boss fight, bing, bang, bop, it's easy done. So what I would think you would have to do is you would have to beat each map to unlock that boss to face in the boss battle mode. And obviously, you would have to do it to unlock the mode, so you would get most of them unlocked. But here's the thing. I think you should only get it for the Easter eggs you've beaten. So if you've beaten all of the Easter eggs in directed mode, sure. But if you load into boss battle, you can only face the directed mode. You shouldn't, at least in my opinion, have beaten all of the directed ones. And you're like, okay, I just want to go play against a curse boss, but I've only beat them in directed mode. No, you got to beat them in directed mode. Then you can unlock them for the boss battle mode. So if you beat them in directed mode, you get all the directed bosses. If you beat them at standard, you get all the standard ones. If you beat them in Curse Tier 1, etc., 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 those are the bosses you get unlocked, and those are the bosses you can fight. Now, you can have them all unlocked. You could have directed, standard, and cursed, and that would just be a fun thing to do to mix it up. If you want an easy boss, if you just want to capture some footage, you go into directed. If you want a challenge, you obviously jump into cursed. And then if you want the normal one, you jump into standard. So I think that would be the way to go, in my opinion. You have to beat the boss in the specific mode to unlock it in boss battle. Then the fourth thing, which a lot of us has been talking about, and it's been going around as a potential part of the Super Easter egg, would be the HUD themes. That was one of the big things leaked before the launch of this game, and really they never came out. There was, of course, the multiplayer one, and then you have the Ethereum one for zombies, and then there's a couple other ones. I think there was, it was a Fallout one, a RoboCop run one, and then, of course, all of the Black Cell HUDs. But before launch, there was the Shadows of Evil HUD and just a lot of classic HUDs that you could equip to make your game look better. And sounds like, or I don't know if it sounds like, but it seems, at least from the outside looking in, like they scrapped it. So if they still have those models, it would be cool to introduce some of the zombies HUDs as a reward for completing all the Easter eggs. The fifth thing that I would like is when you go into Zombies Intel, you can click on cinematics and you can watch all of the intro cinematics in the game. That's really cool. That's really nice. You don't watch them every single time you load into a solo match like the old Zombies games. But what I would like to see happen is watching the final cutscene in-game versus online and on YouTube is a much different experience, at least in my opinion. I think it's much more cooler to see it in-game rather than on YouTube through someone else's game. So once you have beaten all of the Zombies Easter eggs and beaten every single map, I think it would be nice just to add in the final cutscene so you can watch it in-game like you can watch the intro cutscenes. I think that's just a nice little thing that you could add very, very easily. That's just a nice little simple reward. But now, let's get to a gameplay element. I've been talking about a lot of cosmetics, a lot of outside of the game stuff, which is cool and I find very interesting. But when you complete a Super Easter egg, there should be some in-game rewards. Now, as much as I would like a Director's Cut mode where you get a permanent Perkaholic, 25k points to start off with, all of the weapons in the mystery box automatically come as Pack-a-Punch Tier 1, and the Alien Fuse came installed in the projector room. That's a really cool Super Easter egg reward. I just don't think it's going to happen. If they give us that, then it's going to decrease a lot of the sales for their Gobblegums. They're not going to want to trivialize any of the Gobblegums, right? They're not going to want to take away, oh, you spawn in with a Perkaholic. Well, you're not going to be potentially buying Gobblegums. Or if you spawn in with 25k points, oh, you don't need to spawn in with a gift card. And although a lot of us don't buy Gobblegums, their thinking is probably going to be, it could hamper some of the potential sales for Gobblegum. So I don't think we're going to get anything like that. But some things that I would find very interesting would be a way to get Golden Armor, Ultra Weapon Rarity, and Pack-a-Punch Tier 4 in standard mode. I think that would be fun. Obviously, those are rewards for playing a harder game in Curse, but it would just be nice to have in standard mode. I have also seen a lot of people talking about potentially starting in with a loadout weapon in Cursed, and I think that makes Cursed really, really easy if you're going to give us that ability. So what I would say instead is Treyarch said they're only going to stick to three tiers of curse. And I wouldn't be surprised if there still is only 3 tiers of curse, even after the Super Restrike. But what if they added a cursed tier 4, and for that 4th tier, you could spawn in with your loadout. So you could play with any weapon that you want. You could spawn in with any weapon that you wanted, but it would have to be an even higher difficulty than tier 3. And I would imagine it would be scaled a lot, because you can get to tier 3 fairly easy now with how many relics there are. I would imagine that would be an extreme spike on how many relics you have to activate in order to be able to play with a loadout weapon. But I think that would be a very unique, very cool idea to, if you want to add another tier of curse, add it as your loadout weapon. I don't know. That's just me. Those are some gameplay ideas that I have for the instant unlocks. And maybe some of these are a toggle. Like you could toggle on and on golden armor, ultra weapon rarity, Pack-a-Punch tier 4 and standard, and you could turn it off if you wanted to just play the traditional classic mode. If you wanted to go through the progression and start with a weak weapon and upgrade it yourself, you wouldn't have to spawn in with any of those things. Or if you wanted to just stick to the normal challenge of only 3 tiers of Pack-a-Punch, gold rarity, that's it. You wouldn't have to. You could toggle it on and off if you wanted to, like with Director's Cut, like with whatever it was in Zoo for Cold War. But then here are my bonus challenges. The big thing I want, and I'm sure a lot of us want, is a super boss fight. Imagine we load into Rex Infernus on Thursday, which, by the way, this video is coming out probably a day before, if not the morning of Rex Infernus dropping. Imagine we load it up, however long it takes us to solve the Easter egg, but we get in, and the final boss fight is not the Warden? And what if it's actually the penultimate boss fight, and the super boss fight is actually against the Warden? So what I think we would be doing, kind of calling back once again to Infinite Warfare Zombies. I'm kind of a glazer for Infinite Warfare Zombies, but you would have to beat each map with its new unique operator that you unlocked. So for Ashes, you would have to beat it as Vatherion. For Astra, it would have to be as Caltheris, Paradox, whatever that operator was going to be, Totenreich, whatever that operator is going to be, and then, Totenreich, Dravakar, and then Kawakujo, Nixara, and then whatever the operator would be for Rex Infernus. Maybe there isn't one for Rex Infernus, but you would have to beat all the maps. And then once you did that, as soon as you loaded back into Rex Infernus, then you would beat the final boss, and then it would kick you into the super boss fight, kind of like what it did for Infinite Warfare. It teleported you from the 2 purple rhinos into the Mephistopheles boss fight, and you would go from there. So I would love that. And then that one would be the Warden, and it would be the final boss fight, whereas the Rex Infernus final boss is the penultimate boss fight. I think that would be so unique, so fun. Make it a challenging boss fight, and they've been kind of experimenting with that for the past few bosses, right? They've been making... Sorry, I'm saying right a whole lot. I'm trying to cut down on that. But in Black Ops 7, they've been really challenging boss fights, and then you go back to Black Ops 6, and that Richtofen boss fight is one of the hardest boss fights of all time. So they have been experimenting that, and what if they did that with the Warden and just make a super hard boss that is going to take a while to complete, and it adds more content, and it's going to keep people playing Black Ops 7, at least as Zombies fans, right? Again, trying to stop saying right so much, but as Zombies fans, we're not going to have content for the next few years, so giving us these boss fights and giving us more content in the game is never a bad thing to keep us playing this old game. Or old game once more COD keep coming out. But then the second thing that I really want is the mastery camo grind, or more mastery camos, essentially. I love doing the camo grind every year for Nebula last year. It was Nebula, right? Whatever it was last year, I think it was Nebula. And then, of course, Infestation this year. There's Genesis and Endgame. And even though I'm not a multiplayer guy, I hate multiplayer. I don't want to play it. I love the Singularity camo, so I went and got that. I love the mastery camos and the unique looks. What if they did that for the Super Easter egg? But once again, it would be for the type of modes you completed. So if you beat all the boss fights in Directed, you would get a mastery camo. Maybe not the greatest one. Maybe it's not animated. Maybe it glows in the dark or whatever. Then if you beat them all in Standard, you would get a better one. Curse Tier 1, you would get a little better one. Curse Tier 2, you would get a better one. And Curse Tier 3, you would get the best one. And it would be animated and glow in the dark and do all these other things. And it would be reactive once you shoot it. Shoot your gun with the camo on it. And maybe make them different. Of course, we got the Mr. Peaks one. We got to still figure out how to solve the wrestling belt. But imagine these other mastery camos that you get for completing these zombies in these different types of tiers for each map. It would take people who don't play zombies who really like the camo. Man, I gotta go play tier 2 of Cursed and beat all the maps. It gets people into Cursed and gets more people playing zombies for this reward. So I think that would be a super fun, super unique way to go about it. But yeah, that's just my kind of opinion on what I would like for the super Easter egg to be. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I'm going to try and upload this as fast as possible. Probably going to be uploaded on Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, and then yeah, we got Rex and Furnason. So if you do enjoy, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel down below, as the support is greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Parker, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.